All right, let's jump right into something that can feel a little tricky in Hindi, but is super important: how to say you. See, unlike in English, Hindi has 3 different ways to say it, and, getting it right is really key to sounding natural and, of course, respectful.
So you might be wondering, why on earth does Hindi need 3 different words for you? It's a great question, especially if you're coming from English. Well, it all boils down to social context, formality, and respect. But don't worry, we're going to break it down and make it incredibly simple. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to meet the 3 U's. Then, we'll see exactly how they make the verbs change. After that, we'll put it all into practice with some real-world sentences. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with the most important takeaways. You ready? Let's do this.
Okay, first things first, let's start with the absolute basics, the 3 pronouns themselves. We're going to look at what they are and, more importantly, when you should use each one. This is the foundation for everything else.
This slide right here, it's basically your social roadmap for any Hindi conversation. Way up top, you've got tu. Think of this for extreme closeness, like with your best friend or family. In the middle, we have tum, which is kind of your everyday, go-to informal word for friends and people your age. And then at the bottom, there's up. And this one is absolutely essential for showing respect to elders, teachers, or anyone in a formal setting. Getting this right is a huge, huge step.
All right, so now that we know who to use each pronoun with, let's dive into how the verbs actually change. This is the next crucial piece of the puzzle. We'll kick things off with the most informal one, tu. For tu, the rule is actually pretty straightforward. It's all based on gender. You just take the root of the verb, and for a male, you add the ending ta. For a female, you add di. Then you just finish it off with he, which means is. Simple as that.
And here is a perfect illustration of that rule in action. Just look at the captions. For the guy on the left, the verb go becomes jata hai, but for the woman on the right, it becomes jati hai. See? Same pronoun, same verb, but those endings change completely based on gender.
Okay, let's move on to the familiar tum and the formal op. And I've got some really good news for you here. The rules are actually about to get even simpler. So check this out, and this is the crucial point. Both tum and op follow the exact same verb pattern. For masculine subjects, you add te to the verb root, and for feminine subjects, you add ti. Then you finish it with the helping verb ho, which is like saying are. You can see it perfectly right here with tum. If you're talking to a male friend, you go is tum jate ho. And for a female friend, just like the slide shows, it's tum jati ho. Notice those endings, te for masculine and ti for feminine.
And just to really lock this in, remember that you would use these exact same endings for the formal op. This really simplifies things because you only have to learn one pattern for 2 of the most common ways to say you. It's a great little shortcut.
Okay, theory is great and all, but let's make it real. Let's see how these rules actually work in some practical, everyday sentences you might actually use. Okay, here's our first example. We're talking to our friend Rahul, so we'll use the familiar tum. Since Rahul is a guy, the verb to go gets that te ho ending. So, Rahul, tum school jate ho. Makes sense, right? Now let's switch it up and talk to our friend Seema. We're still going to use tum because she's a peer, but since Seema is female, the verb to live, which is rehna, takes the feminine ending ti ho. So the sentence becomes, Seema, tum yahan rehti ho, which means, Seema, you live here.
Now let's imagine a more formal setting. Say you're talking to a colleague named David. Here, you'd want to use the respectful op. Since he's masculine, the verb karna, to do work, gets that same te ho ending we just learned, becoming op kam karte ho.
Whew, I know that was a lot of information. So let's put it all together on one simple slide to make it super easy to remember.
Think of this as your ultimate cheat sheet. The system is actually really logical. Step 1, choose your pronoun based on formality, tu, tum, or op. Step 2, figure out the gender of the person you're talking to. And step 3, just pop on the correct ending. And look at that again, tum and ap sharing those exact same endings. So cool. So what you should really take away from all this is that language is so deeply tied to culture and relationships. As you go out and practice your Hindi, think about who you're talking to. Is it a friend, a shopkeeper, an elderly person? Choosing the right you isn't just about grammar, it's really about connection. Subscribe for more and follow me on Instagram, link in the description. And if you want to learn Hindi one-on-one with me, MSG me on Instagram or email me.